What's up, guys? We have another kind of like deep dive segment here. We're going to be talking about Vitamin Shoppe's merchandising strategy, something that I've talked about a few times in some different videos. I'll make sure I link those or have kind of an icon pop up to let you guys watch some of those other segments. But in particular, we're going to be talking about kind of one merchandising strategy that they've kind of went all in on recently, and I'm going to kind of talk about my thoughts around it, give you guys some background around just kind of why they're doing what they're doing, and hopefully you guys will get some insights out of this video. The Vitamin Shoppe recently kind of announced that they are going to be going all in on the dietary and nutritional supplements that kind of surround the ketogenic diet. They're calling this kind of like their Keto HQ. They're going to have like a whole section around the kind of ketogenic diet. This is going to be one of kind of the first separate sections that a brick and mortar retailer is given the ketogenic diet. And the Vitamin Shoppe is kind of using a kind of an influencer, an entrepreneur influencer named Dr. Josh Axe. Dr. Axe is actually the owner of Ancient Nutrition. And Ancient Nutrition, if you guys follow kind of the general consumer packaged goods industry, you guys have seen their name come up several different times in the kind of the investment world. And that's because they've recently kind of raised about $100 million in funding. I think that was led by VMG Partners. They had some other people kind of a part of that round, but I think they kind of led that round. Besides kind of running Ancient Nutrition, Josh Axe is actually a part of the Vitamin Shoppe's Wellness Council that they announced probably a few months ago. They have a bunch of different thought leaders. They actually have, I think, also a Supreme Court Justice on there, so very interesting kind of hodgepodge of different people. But one that I've talked about before that's also included on this council is Matt Hesse, which is the owner of Performix, which recently kind of shifted away from kind of focusing on GNC to now focusing on the Vitamin Shoppe. But to get back to Vitamin Shoppe's play here, with kind of their ambassador, Dr. Axe, he's obviously going to be, pushing Ancient Nutrition and his kind of propositions throughout his brand, if it's, bone broth or collagen or any of the other kind of keto products that he has within his kind of brand portfolio. But he's also going to be kind of a bigger thought leader to help educate consumers, the Vitamin Shoppe consumers, both kind of current and potential ones, on the ketogenic diet. And though the ketogenic diet is not the most, I would say not the most technical of all the kind of diets that have been kind of put out there over the years, anything new or newer for people, there needs to be kind of an education piece. And I think he's going to help the Vitamin Shoppe with a bunch of like kind of monthly content, also probably some other different things he's going to be doing throughout his personal brand to kind of help this partnership be successful. I tended to kind of look at this first. I wanted to see how the Vitamin Shoppe's merchandising strategy is kind of differing from their main competitor, GNC. I'll leave Amazon kind of out of this, because being that they're a marketplace with just kind of endless amount of digital shelf space, they have hundreds upon thousands of kind of product. It's a little bit hard to compare both a GNC and a Vitamin Shoppe's merchandising strategy to an Amazon. But kind of like a quick search online, you could see that actually the Vitamin Shoppe has about 3 times the amount of products that are kind of driven towards keto, the keto diet, than GNC. So it's kind of important to note that kind of 3x merchandising strategy, and just kind of Vitamin Shoppe going out there, doing a lot of kind of press around having this Keto HQ, obviously doing partnerships with Dr. Axe. You could see with some of the brands that they're kind of focusing on recently, they have, I think, Sparta Nutrition, which has a pretty strong keto lineup. They're kind of going to be in nationwide in Vitamin Shoppes. I think they carry some Bulletproof. Obviously, they carry Ancient Nutrition, and kind of like some of the other kind of major brands that are kind of in the keto space. Bigger question, why is kind of Vitamin Shoppe going all in on this? Especially because if you guys know a little bit of the history of the Vitamin Shoppe, they're kind of always quick to jump on what they call certain like fads. They are notorious for doing some of like the Dr. Oz, like different kind of like acai or pomegranate this, or all that kind of stuff. So Vitamin Shoppe has been notorious around kind of getting burned and being a little bit too long in these fads. Why is the Vitamin Shoppe going all in on the ketogenic diet then? But in terms of like the ketogenic, like consumer packaged goods, both from functional food beverages and traditional kind of caps, powders, pills, what the big difference is here is what I'm noticing is a lot of like major private equity or kind of venture funds or venture capitalists are getting out in front of this trend and putting a lot of their money behind these things. So they're really seeing this as kind of a new category to kind of capture. If it's, if it's VMG that did some things with Ancient, or if it's like Kavu or some of the other kind of firms that threw some money towards Bulletproof, which you guys obviously have heard of Bulletproof coffee, and just kind of the extreme growth that both that original concept and just kind of the packaged goods have been getting. And you're also seeing like a bunch of kind of like sub niches or subcultures that are coming out of this ketogenic kind of diet, and a lot of that can be kind of focused around what they call kind of like biohacking. And though biohacking isn't kind of a common term outside of probably some of the bigger kind of tech areas, be it Silicon Valley, here where I'm at in Austin, in kind of like Seattle or Portland, you are kind of seeing more and more people focused around kind of this biohacking or keto area. With the Vitamin Shoppe, kind of seeing all of those, different bigger players, very smart individuals making very strong plays, be it through financial or see some of the kind of the search traffic or kind of any other kind of social listening aspects of it. I think the Vitamin Shoppe feels very comfortable taking the lead on this through a brick and mortar and really trying to be a first mover. I think this is kind of where the Vitamin Shoppe is going to focus a lot of their attention on, is going to be through their merchandising strategy to combat some of their issues with their same store comps and just some of their numbers recently. I think they've really pinpointed the merchandising as kind of one of their big areas, and that could be seen through like their new Launchpad program. You've also seen them kind of take some very aggressive changes in terms of like just the amount of products they bring in with new brands they bring into the stores, and then just also kind of like cleaning up a lot of the excessive duplicates that are kind of on the shelves. If you're kind of not a top seller in a certain category, they need to kind of make space for different evolving kind of categories or different evolving trends that could keep them fresh, keep the merchandising cycles fresh, which is much different than what they've been doing over the last kind of several years, where it's kind of building out excessive categories. Kind of what I'm hearing from some of my clients is when they are in those meetings pitching the Vitamin Shoppe, they are getting a much different experience than they used to a couple years ago. I think when the Vitamin Shoppe kind of cleaned house with some of their purchasing department, I think that really signaled a change in the way that they wanted to approach their merchandising. So kind of in this video, I just want to kind of talk about my thoughts around like keto products and kind of the viability of those. Are they marketable? Is this something that you're going to get burned in if you focus a lot of attention on? These are kind of questions that always kind of come up. I have a lot of clients that are looking at product extensions in keto or looking at creating new brands in their portfolio around keto. And though I've spent a lot of time individually with those clients talking about this stuff, I thought it would be good information to kind of get it out there to get some value out of it. So I guess first thoughts, and I've thrown around like fad a lot in this video, and I definitely don't think this, like the keto diet, is a fad, though it's very trendy. It's definitely not a fad. Just as kind of like a note, I remember doing a keto diet in college, which is, over 10 years ago. This was kind of popularized by, I believe, like Dave Palumbo, which was on kind of the bodybuilding.com forums, and was one that I saw some kind of really good results with. I was not using it for kind of weight loss reasons. I was using it for kind of brain or biohacking reasons. I was using a lot of nootropics and a lot of things during college just to kind of get an edge. And it was one of those things that I researched and kind of got ahead of some things that are now kind of coming out in kind of the Silicon Valley community or kind of the tech community. I definitely don't think this is a fad. It's been around for a long time. It's been around a lot before that. It actually is kind of like it's very similar to the Atkins diet, which depending on how old you are watching this, you might be very familiar with the Atkins diet. That was a diet that was extremely popular, this high fat, low carb kind of diet. So this is not something new, and because it's not new, I think is why it's getting so much attention right now. And so you're getting such a high adoption rate with this keto diet. And you can see that with if you look at social listening type of metrics, if it's search results or search engine activity, you see the ketogenic diet getting a massive amount of searches. This is much bigger than diets before, like some of the low-fat diets or the paleo or different things that have come out in the last couple of years. You see the search results being a lot higher with the keto diet. You can also see from Reddit forums or different things like that, there's a lot of activity that's around keto or ketogenic or biohacking. So there's just a lot of activity from a social listening standpoint. You also, if you look at YouTube videos or Instagrams or Facebook or anything like that, you see a ton of people talking about the ketogenic diet. You also see a lot of activity from major sports and celebrities that are putting this into the mainstream. That's really helping the velocity of the ketogenic diet. All those things honestly has the making of a fad, quite honestly, but I think the difference is a lot of the ketogenic diet is rooted in medical research and a lot of research that's being done around it, and it's been done for the last several decades. So I think this is much different than some of these flash in the pants type of diets that people get excited about, be it like the cottage cheese diets or that one where you're just eating a lot of soup. I remember that when I was a kid, people talking about this weird soup diet that they were doing. This is a much bigger trendy diet that's going to be I believe is going to be sticking around for definitely the next decade plus, depending on where we go with personalized nutrition and just the information that we get from some of our DNA blood work, different panels that we can get. I think the ketogenic diet has a lot of legs up until that point, and then if it has validity with personalized nutrition, it can continue to grow. But I think that's a pivot point that's going to happen with both supplementation and nutrition, is this personalized nutrition. And I talked a little bit about this before in another video. Again, I'll link that to you guys if you guys are interested in watching it. But from a commercialization standpoint, should I launch a product? To answer that question, I still, with anything, the world is getting noisier, getting more competitive. Products are definitely getting launched faster and faster with keto claims. I think I saw some data around that, in the last couple of years, keto products or keto claimed products have went up about 5x. So there is a lot more competition than you had a couple years ago. But if you still look at the Amazon searches or any product searches, you definitely don't see these products being fully scaled out in terms of maturity in the channels. So, there might be a ton on e-commerce or direct to consumer. There might be some pieces of them in some of the other channels, be it like food, drug, mass, convenience, but you're not seeing a massive category shift or anything that's a major build out, other than the Vitamin Shoppe putting their stake in with this Keto HQ. I definitely think there is a ton of value left. If you are a consumer packaged good company, if you have an idea that is incremental or radical in its innovation, I definitely think there's a lot of chances for you to definitely make a good amount of money in this category. If you're going to copycat, I still think there's probably, because it hasn't picked up enough esteem that a massive amount of buyers are in this category. Copycats or private label products can definitely still make a lot of money. If you're a major retailer, definitely look at some private label options. But I wish the Vitamin Shoppe all of luck. I definitely like that they're taking an aggressive stance towards a growing diet category that has a lot of product ecosystems that are growing from it. I think that the Vitamin Shoppe needs to stay aggressive with their merchandising, stay aggressive with a lot of their other focal points, if that's e-commerce. But I think we'll stop this topic here. If you guys have listened to me this long, make sure you guys are hitting the thumbs up button. That helps me out a ton. And if you guys haven't done this yet, make sure you guys are subscribing to my YouTube channel, just to ensure that you guys are getting all of my video content. Obviously, I don't charge you guys for any of this content, so if you guys are getting some value out of this, all I ask is that you tell a colleague or a friend to grow this community a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger. But just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to me, and I'll see you guys on the next one.